Hi there.
Art challenges.
Admittedly, I don't think I've really done any.
Actually, there were some people requesting art challenges.
I thought that would be a super fun idea.
Now, there was one art challenge that someone commented that really stood out to me.
I went looking for that comment so I could put it on screen, but it wasn't on the video anymore, so I'm not entirely sure. If I remember who did it, then I'll let you guys know.
So, you read the title? Today, I'm going to attempt to draw with my non-dominant hand.
I can tell that this is gonna be a struggle.
So, as some of you may have noticed, my dominant hand is my right hand.
My left hand is like just there. It's like a spare limb. It's like kind of good for nothing.
Regardless, I still think it'd be a fun way to challenge myself while also delivering some content.
I do have some brief concepts laid out on this page. You can't see it very well though.
But basically, I was planning on doing a monster sort of character, so I wouldn't be entirely hung up on it being like absolutely perfect.
Hope for the best.
I'm anticipating that this will be kind of frustrating.
But we're gonna try because I haven't really challenged myself lately. Also, the paper is kind of warped because I got some water on it, but that's irrelevant. Okay, let's get started.
To start, I attempted to begin with a loose figure.
Already, it's just so hard to get a few lines down. This is gonna take way longer than a normal sketch. Of course, I will try to make it a bit less detailed, but like regardless, it's gonna be a long ride.
My left hand had like zero recollection of drawing, so I did end up having to retry a few times. I attempted to use a ruler, but it wasn't much use, so I just stopped using the ruler. During the beginning, I did have to base it a bit more heavily on a reference. One thing I did find kind of useful was just like making a bunch of lines and kind of like sculpting it out with an eraser. The eraser had a bit more friction against the page, so it was easier to control. For the drawing itself, it was kind of like a one-eyed monster using like the eyes and a balloon. I know it's like a weird idea, but I thought it was pretty cool. And no, it's not really based on the movie It.
Just checking in. I'd say it's been about 25 minutes, but it's felt much longer than that. There are a lot of different lines, and I feel like I'm using less pressure with the pencil.
Honestly, I just love recording on time-lapse because I can really do whatever I want and it'll get like lost in the footage. It's a great method for when I'm unsure about drawing. Like with some of the details on this drawing. I mean, it was a slow go, but I eventually got there. Sometimes when I'm sketching, there's just like this point where I'll be, okay, I'm just gonna like make the sketch very messy and just hope that the line art fixes it. At the moment, that was my current mindset. On the contrary, one thing I found about sketching with my left hand was that it was slower, so I did have to think about some things more.
But still, I don't think that means I'll favor it over drawing with my right
hand.
However,
if anyone's looking for a challenge to do, this is a great one, and honestly, I'd recommend it.
Slowly but surely making my way through. Looks a bit like a chicken nugget, but that's fine, we can deal with that.
As I continued, I didn't really know how many more details I could add because there were already so many lines. The details would kind of just get lost in the sketch. Usually, if I'm happy with the sketch and the details start to become incomprehensible, then that's a good sign to start doing the line art. However, I don't think I really listened to that this time. I kept going because I didn't know if I'd want to add more details or not. But one thing was for sure. The more I added, the more it started to look like the hair that like comes out of a bathroom drain. It's disgusting. Okay, sorry about that. But I digress.
So I can't really think of many other details to add in this. It looks really detailed because there are a lot of lines. And I think if I do add any more details, it might overcomplicate it. So I'm going to decide a color scheme, then I'm gonna line. I don't usually do that, but I thought I'd give it a try. I might go with some like brightish, rainbowish colors. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe I'll line this with a blue liner. How about? Now this is where I could really screw up because like with the liner, there's not much going back.
I did already have the sketch as a guide, so surprisingly, the liner wasn't as difficult as I anticipated it to be. I'm not exactly sure if there's much to say about it because it was relatively smooth sailing. However, I did want to add a few different details to the liner. Most notably, I added a lot of different lines and I overlapped them, especially on the outside of the character, to give it a more, monstrous feel. And not to mention, I wanted to hide the mistakes and make them look intentional.
Gosh, honestly, there are so many lines on this page that I have no clue what it'll look like when I'm done erasing, so I'm just gonna go do that and we'll see where it is from then. And yes, I'm going to erase with my left hand still. Fun fact, this eraser used to be a carrot. I got it in February, I've been using it so much, and now it's this.
Erasing with my left hand made it kind of hard to get a grip, but it wasn't too difficult.
So now I'm gonna attempt to color this with my left hand. I honestly don't know how this is gonna turn out, but like I said, hope for the best.
I followed along with the way I typically color, which is basically adding a base color and blocking out the shadows, then blending it out. Drawing with my left hand meant I was much slower, meaning sometimes it kind of bled a bit.
You could also see that there was a ton of ink bleeding through on the other side of the page.
I always try to have a scrap piece of paper under the page to prevent too much bleeding, and it seemed to work out. I absolutely love working with bright colors, and hopefully it distracts from the fact that it's not the neatest coloring ever. Also, there seems to be a piece of tape blocking part of the frame, so I'm really sorry about that. I wanted to see what it'd look like under a different colored light, and it definitely looks a lot different on camera than it did in person. You know, that piece of tape is still blocking the frame, so how about we cover it up with a happy character? Much better. Throughout the drawing process, you can see that my right hand is kind of like hovering over the page. I wasn't exactly sure what to do with that hand because that's the one I normally draw with. At this stage, I was adding a few final touch-ups with the color right before I did the gel pen. I was also debating over what background to give the character.
Next I'm gonna try and have the gel pen. I don't know how much better it'll make it, or how good I can do it with my left hand.
I love adding gel pen because it really makes the drawing pop. I emphasized the highlights on the hair and added a very strong lighting to one side of the character. I also highlighted the buttons because, you know, why not? For backgrounds, I usually have a block of color behind the character, but I didn't really think that would work out with this, so I settled for something a bit more simplistic. This is the final product, and I'm actually really happy with it considering the circumstances. This is a super fun challenge and a great way to challenge your artistic abilities. If you're bored, I suggest you try this. I forgot to record an outro, so this is being recorded much later, but oh well. What else? Stay safe and don't wear with scissors. I'll see you next time. Bye!